Tons of new RPGs are on the way, and the amount of RPGs available to folks now is staggering. With so many games jockeying for position, looking for your time, which should you play? Well, here's 5 RPGs that I think everybody should play. Let's go. Phantasy Star for the Sega Master System. Phantasy Star is an early example of what games could be, what RPGs could be. It's staggering to think about how wild this game is, how forward-thinking this game was. It's so beautiful. Oh, it's so stinking good. It's an RPG set in a futuristic universe, and it starts out right into the action, which is incredible. There's not a lot of backstory, there's not a lot of stuff going on here, it gets you right into it. There's a guy just literally like dying on the floor. But it's a wild journey where you can play as a lot of different characters. You can play as like a space cat. There's caves, incredible graphics, it's wild looking. Playing this game, I don't think you would believe it is as old as it is. It looks like someone from the future, looks like somebody today made a retro RPG. Something that struck me about this game is the Master System and the possibilities on this system. When you see the mazes in this game, they are just incredible looking. Like, how was this working on an 8-bit system? It just looks so good. There's an incredible sense of adventure in this game as you go from spaceport to spaceport, traveling around, helping people out, exploring caves, and looking for stuff. It's really neat. There's vehicles. There's a lot of cool stuff happening in Phantasy Star. And this game, fortunately, is incredibly accessible, particularly if you play some kind of mod of the game that has some kind of experience increase or whatever, or you look up maps for the game. Now, it can be a lot of fun drawing out your own maps for an old game, but if you don't want to do that sort of stuff, you can play the Switch version, the Sega Ages version. This version comes with a map. It allows you to increase your experience and money, so you don't have to grind as much, and it's cheap, and it's on the Switch. So there's really no excuse for not playing this game nowadays. If you really want to see what the Master System can do, and some impressive stuff for RPGs back in the day, this is the game to look at. Final Fantasy. This is where it all started, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's not true. This is where Final Fantasy started, ladies and gentlemen. And if you played this game, you're going to see why it went on to become one of the biggest RPG series of all time. It's incredible. It's not the biggest, but it's one of the biggest RPG series of all time. And it all stemmed right there on the NES. Something I think you can appreciate about this game still is the complexity of the story. I'm about to show you, I'm about to get that game down and show you what is up. You're like, look, I got this game, I'm legit, it's good. If I fall, maybe it'll be for insurance purposes. We'll see what happens. Good luck, everybody. Don't look at it. It's a secret. It's a secret to everyone. Get you some rupees or something, you know? Where were we? Okay, so let's see. I think you'd be surprised by the complexity of the story in this game. I expected it to be incredibly simple, but it's a lot wilder than I anticipated. Playing Final Fantasy will also get you jamming to those tunes, that sweet Final Fantasy music, and you get to see where that started, really. And the music in this game is, I know it's 8-bit stuff, but I love 8-bit stuff. You probably love 8-bit stuff if you're watching this video. The music's so good. And here's a bit of a hot take. You need to play this game, and then you need to play Stranger of Paradise, because it is awesome. It's such a cool game. That's a prequel to the Final Fantasy game. It's fun. It's so awesome. Final Fantasy on the NES has so many iterations nowadays. There's the Pixel Remaster, there's the PSP version, there's the Steam versions. I highly recommend any of them, really, but the one I played the most was the PSP version. This version of Final Fantasy is kind of brutal in the sense that if you attack something that's not there, you just whiff. So you can't just hit attack, attack, attack over and over, which, I mean, adds more strategy to the game, but it's also very inconvenient. And that's a quality of life thing that was improved in, I think, every other one. So, but again, very good. Breath of Fire for the Super Nintendo. This makes it possible to play as a dragon. How cool is that? You actually get the breath of fire. This game has absolutely gorgeous graphics, and I know it's a little shiny looking, it's just the plastic case, but the graphics are so cool, the aesthetic on the front is so cool, and this was really a step up in graphics in an early Super Nintendo game. Of course, as the series goes on, as it continues, the graphics get better. Even the Super Nintendo Part 2 is really good. The graphics are considerably better there, but this was just so impressive for the time, and it was neat to see Capcom doing their RPG thing. This game has incredibly simple gameplay, but that also means that it's accessible. If you've never played an RPG before, this one will be fine for you to check out. Hey Bubba, where you at? There's a kitty cat. He's come to visit. He heard me talking. Hi Bubba. Hey handsome. I know. You like Breath of Fire too? He didn't hiss at me, which is pretty awesome. We're friends. The charm of this game is just it's through the roof, and it will make you super nostalgic for all the other RPGs that you've played in the past, all the other retro RPGs. Of course, I would recommend some kind of like mod of this or a hack or something that would increase experience or something, or you could use a fast forward feature on an emulator. That really helps too. When I played through this one, I played it a long time ago, but when I finally beat the game, I was playing on a modded Xbox, and I had a fast forward button set for the control stick or whatever, or the L2, R2, and I would squeeze that and just hammer through the battles and such. It made it very tolerable. It made it not such a grind to get through the battles, but there is charm in it. The graphics are great, the music's great, everything about this game, awesome. It's simple, don't get me wrong. You get to play as a dragon though, which is, it's a step up, that's pretty cool. But this game also started an incredible legacy in Breath of Fire, and I would love to see more Breath of Fire games come out. But Breath of Fire 1 was great, Breath of Fire 2 was great, Breath of Fire 3 was great, Breath of Fire 4 was great. There's just so many excellent games in the series, and this is where it started. Lunar Silver Star Story Complete. First off, I want to say that this game has incredible sprites in it, and I'm a big fan of sprites. The art in this game is absolutely gorgeous. It has wonderful anime cutscenes that are just so pretty. It's got this kind of beautiful aesthetic thing going on too. Oh, it's so pretty, so nice. Much wow. It's a timeless tale of good and evil, and that doesn't make it bad. It has so much heart. The game originally came out on the Sega CD, but Working Designs released this version. They made a lot of updates to it. They put some music in, they added some different stuff. They added these fun anime cutscenes. Some of them are really funny, some of them are, they're a bit thirsty, but it's all part of the experience. In this game, you join a young man as he travels to become the Dragon Master, his hero. He travels to become that guy, and he's solving the world's problems, and he gets caught up in a much bigger story, and it's a lot of fun. The Working Designs version of this game is really, really hard, but there's a patch out there that makes it more palatable. I hear you, Mario. You are heard. We love you. Go home. Thank you. You're drunk. There's a patch out there that makes this much more palatable. It removes the difficulty that was cranked up in the Working Designs version of the game, and that's the version I would personally recommend because it's still a difficult game even at like a normal difficulty setting. The Working Designs really cranked it up, so it became a major grind fest. I'll link that in the notes below. Check out that patch. It's so good. The biggest reason to play this game is so that every time you hear the song from the beginning, you get tore up from the floor up. Oh, it's so great. Just like you want to toe tap and dance and whatever else. The opening song is so good. It makes you want to run out the door and go on some kind of wild adventure and save the world and be the hero. And pit check. It's too good. It's too good. We're okay. Speaking of a pit check, have you checked to see if you're subscribed to my channel? I like talking about RPGs. I like talking about older video games. If you made it this far in the video, you might consider subscribing. Check out some of my other videos. I did another top 5 RPG video. Turns out that one was mostly Super Nintendo, and I didn't really realize it until after I'd recorded it, written it, and recorded it. But I like to talk about these sort of things. I love talking about RPGs, and it's just my opinion on RPGs is always changing. I'm always thinking about something new. I love having the discourse about it. So give me a like, give me a subscribe, and let's carry on. My number one recommendation out of this list has to be Dragon Warrior for the NES. Dragon Warrior has such a just simple, basic story, but it's still very good. It's like a beautiful coloring sheet, but it's there. There's not a lot of wild stuff to it, but you can make of it what you want. You can make that experience as good as you want that experience to be. It's an incredibly simple light versus dark story. You are the good guy. You're trying to save the princess from the bad guy, and then you must punish the bad guy. This game is an absolute game of numbers. The combat is crazy simple. There's only one enemy on the screen at a time. There's random encounters. It's a game of exploration where you're traversing over mountains and through fields and into caves, and getting into these caves without some kind of torch is scarier than pooping in a well after dark. I'm telling you, it's messed up. It's real easy to die in this one, but it's a game of numbers in that sense. If you ain't got the HP, you're probably in trouble. If you ain't got the mana to cover the heals for the HP, you're probably in trouble. If something's hitting you, there's not a lot of way around it. You get that sword upgrade, you get that armor upgrade, you go fight monsters until you're stronger, and you get gold and you buy the next upgrade. It's very simple, but it's a grind, and it's a good grind. It's a very rewarding grind. But the biggest reason I put Dragon Warrior up there as my number one on this particular list of retro RPGs that you should play is because Dragon Warrior is a pioneering role-playing game. It absolutely set the standard for what a console RPG would be. It popularized the genre in the West. Playing this game will give you the opportunity to experience the roots of RPGs. In all the modern RPGs, as much as I like to talk about Chrono Trigger and Earthbound and stuff, they all owe it to this one right here. Think about this game as the base and everything just built from this. Everything stems from this, like the world tree or something. It's wild, but it's totally worth your time. It's not a terribly long game. It is a very difficult game, but if I were going to play this game, I believe this is the version I would play, so you can see it at its absolute roots. Like, what game was people playing when they said, this is awesome, I love this stuff, the game of numbers is the game I want, the game of numbers is what has brought you to this video today. As far as games go, it stems from here, and that's awesome. I hope you enjoyed the list. I made another video about top 5 retro RPGs. I hope that you'll check that one out. I'll link it right here somewhere in the video. If you're interested in some more deep dive sort of stuff, I'll link another video here to Earthbound or something. Probably Earthbound. I love talking about these retro RPGs. I love talking about retro video games in general. I want to know your thoughts on this sort of stuff, so let me know in the comments. What did you think about the list? What do you think about these RPGs? Are these the RPGs everyone should be playing to get a taste of what it is to play retro RPGs? After all, gaming discourse is important. Our discourse, it's important, so we should continue.